This is WEFT Champaign, 90.1 FM, community radio for East Central Illinois. Streaming live at www.weft.org. The views and opinions expressed here are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of WFT, its board of directors, associates, its station manager, or Prairie Air Incorporated. The following program is pre-recorded and consists of two parts. The first part is a rebroadcast of a program first aired in 2011. The second part was recorded on June 6, 2015. Welcome to Weekend Heartbeat. I'm Sean David, and this is a new lamp.
New lamp for old. New lamp for old. Remember how Aladdin headed out to get oil for his mother's old dented, tarnished lamp? And in the market he met a magician calling out these words. This strange man was offering to give him a brand new shiny lamp for his old one. That's what I want to offer you, if you'll have it. A new lamp of spiritual guidance. But maybe you already have such a lamp, which still burns brightly. Great! You are still welcome to join us simply to learn who we are. But maybe your lamp of divine guidance has gotten dented and tarnished like Aladdin's. Or perhaps you have no such lamp at all. To you, I offer a new lamp. Hi, my name is Marilyn. Welcome to A New Lamp, a program designed to make you acquainted with the Baha'i religious faith. I hope you will choose to spend the next few minutes with me. Thanks. New lamp for old. New lamp for old. Remember how Aladdin headed out to get oil for his mother's old dented, tarnished lamp? And in the market he met a magician calling out these words. This strange man was offering to give him a brand new shiny lamp for his old one. That's what I want to offer you, if you'll have it. A new lamp of spiritual guidance. But maybe you already have such a lamp, which still burns brightly. Great! You are still welcome to join us simply to learn who we are. But maybe your lamp of divine guidance has gotten dented and tarnished like Aladdin's. Or perhaps you have no such lamp at all. To you, I offer a new lamp. Hi, my name is Marilyn. Welcome to A New Lamp, a program designed to make you acquainted with the Baha'i religious faith. I hope you will choose to spend the next few minutes with me. Thanks.
Baha'u'llah was in the Siachal, dark surrounded him. A heavenly maiden did appear, light on every limb. She said, this is the mystery of God and his treasure. This is the mystery of God and his bowed down by chains, strangers at his side. Highwaymen surrounded him, some companions died. This is the mystery of God and his treasure. This is the mystery of God and his treasure. He came saying, free the prisoner. You treat him like a criminal. He is Baha'u'llah. This is the mystery of God and his treasure. This is the mystery of God and his treasure. My God, this is the best beloved of the world, and yet you comprehend not. Pestilence, he heard a most sweet voice calling above his head. Turning his face, she said, this is the mystery of God and his treasure. This is the mystery of God and his treasure. My God, this is the best beloved of the world, and yet you comprehend not. My God, this is the best beloved of the world, and yet you comprehend not.
Good morning. We ended our program last week with Baha'u'llah in the dungeon. I'm going to read to you his own words, which will give you a better idea of the extreme circumstances than I could give you in my words. It was while in the Shia Kal that Baha'u'llah came to understand that he was the one referred to by the Bab as he whom God will make manifest. Upon our arrival, we were first conducted along a pitch-black corridor, from whence we descended 3 steep flights of stairs to the place of confinement assigned to us. The dungeon was wrapped in thick darkness, and our fellow prisoners numbered nearly 150 souls, thieves, assassins, and highwaymen. Though crowded, it had no other outlet than the passage by which we entered. No pen can depict that place, nor any tongue describe its loathsome smell. Most of these men had neither clothes nor bedding to lie on. God alone knoweth what befell us in that most foul-smelling and gloomy place. All those who were struck down by the storm that raged during the memorable year in Tehran were our fellow prisoners in the Shia Kal, where we were confined. We were all huddled together in one cell, our feet in stocks, and around our necks fastened the most galling of chains. The air we breathed was laden with the foulest impurities, while the floor on which we sat was covered with filth and infested with vermin. No ray of light was allowed to penetrate that pestilential dungeon, or to warm its icy coldness. We were placed in 2 rows facing each other. We had taught them to repeat certain verses which, every night, they chanted with extreme fervor. God is sufficient unto me, he verily is the all-sufficing, one row would intone, while the other would reply, in him let the trusting trust. The chorus of these gladsome voices would continue to peal out until early morning hours. Every day our jailers, entering our cell, would call the name of one of our companions, bidding him arise and follow them to the foot of the gallows. With what eagerness would the owner of that name respond to that solemn call! Relieved of his chains, he would spring up to his feet and in a state of uncontrollable delight would approach and embrace us. We would seek to comfort him with the assurance of an everlasting life in the world beyond, and filling his heart with hope and joy, would send him forth to win the crown of glory. He would embrace in turn the rest of his fellow prisoners and then proceed to die as dauntlessly as he had lived. Soon after the martyrdom of each of these companions, we would be informed by the executioner, who had grown to be friendly to us, of the circumstances of the death of his victim and of the joy with which he had endured his sufferings to the very end. O my servant, free thyself from the fetters of the world, and lose thy soul from the prison of self. Seize thy chance, for it will come to thee no more. Thanks so much for being with me this morning. I hope you have found a blessing during these few minutes. If you want to learn more about the Baha'i religion, you can go online to www.bahai.us. To contact me, my email address is anewlamp@yahoo.com. Thanks, and have a great day. Welcome to the June edition of A New Lamp. We are pleased to have as our guest today Zivar Gio and her three daughters, Nadine, Mariah, and Amy. Amy Felty, who was our guest a few months back, is mother and grandmother to these three beautiful young women. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Sean. I'm very happy to be here. This is exciting.
Yes, thank you.
Super fun.
Zivar, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Then maybe each of the girls, just such things as family, schooling, or work. Also, Zivar, I'm sure people will wonder about your unique name.
Well, I'm an electrician here in Champaign-Urbana. I do residential work mostly. I've got 3 teenage daughters, who you'll meet in just a second. And my name comes from, well, it's a roundabout trip it has taken. When my grandmother was a baby, her family in 1920 really wanted to go on pilgrimage. Her mother and father were Baha'is and very young and adventurous, and they found passage on a couple different ships to Israel. They had quite a journey there with their 4-year-old daughter and their 4-month-old daughter, but they got to see and spend time with Abdul Baha.
Wow.
And he gave the visiting children names. That's a custom. And he gave my grandmother the name Zivar, and her whole life she went by Anna Marie, her given name.
Mm-hmm.
But then the name was passed on to me, and I've just had the lucky chance to be
Kind of named by Abdul Baha. In proxy a little bit.
Yeah.
And what does it mean?
It means precious. Literally, it's jewelry that one would wear, but as a name, it means precious. It's not an uncommon name in Iran. It's an old name like Bertha or Janet, an older name.
Things that people would be familiar with there.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, isn't that beautiful? So Zivar, you said you're an electrician.
Yeah.
So how did you come to be an electrician? That's an unusual for a woman. And who do you work for?
Well, I work for myself now. I have my own company, Bright Electric Project and Repair. I was trained with Butcher's Electrical Service, and then John Butcher died unexpectedly in 2011, and I've been on my own since.
That is really interesting. And most unusual. You've got a lot of unusual things, but they're neat. neat things. Okay. Girls, who would like to start today?
So I'm Nadine. I just graduated from Central High School this year, and today I'm moving to Indianapolis.
All right. And why are you moving to Indianapolis?
I'm moving to Indianapolis to do a year of service. Many Baha'i youth do a year of service sometime between high school and college. And so I'm going to be working in a neighborhood with community building programs.
Wow, that has to be exciting.
Yes, it is.
Siva, you also did a year of service, did you not?
I did, yeah. In 1993, I worked at the Baha'i World Center, which is in Haifa, Israel, for 1 year, cleaning houses.
Cleaning houses.
It was fantastic. There were about 740 staff members, and they came from so many different countries. You just felt constantly like you were surrounded by the entire world in this microcosm. It was amazing. The first day I reported for work there, I walked up to the main security gate, and the security guard was a very tall, very dark African man who saw me coming and said, "Hello, you are new. Who are you? I am from Nigeria. I am Julius. Welcome." So that was my introduction to the Baha'i World Center. He was phenomenal. He was a force of welcome.
That is neat. Oh, that's such a beautiful place anyway. Oh, that has to have been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Who else are we going to hear from today? Amy, everybody's pointing at you. I guess it's your turn.
Yeah, I'm in 8th grade and I go to Montessori Habitat School.
That's great. And what kind of things are you interested in?
I like dancing, drawing, and swimming, and reading.
So you've got a lot of interests. As I recall, just in the length of time I've known you, you've taken piano lessons and was a flute?
Yeah.
And yeah, so you've got a lot of things going on. What are you going to do with the summer?
Mostly just hang out with my cousins since they're coming.
That's right, they're going to be coming from China, aren't they? So that'll be great. I know you'll look forward to that.
You're going to go for a science camp.
A science camp?
Yeah.
Wow. Where will that be at?
On campus. It's a 7th and 8th grade girls pollen power camper experience for 1 week.
Oh,
8 hours a day for a whole week. Microscopes.
that sounds interesting.
Yay.
And going to a Montessori school, actually all you girls have had interesting experiences because of that, haven't you?
Yes.
Things that you wouldn't have gotten at public school.
Oh, yes.
Mariah, we haven't heard from you yet.
I'm a sophomore at Central. And I like reading a lot, all the time, and biking, and reading.
You keep pretty active. I know that most of the time I see you with your nose in a book.
Mariah recently joined Color Guard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is so fun. It's really dangerous, too, but it's really fun.
My granddaughter did that, and she loved it. Oh, I know you will, too.
It's the flag tossing, like with the marching band.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, what was a color guard? Yeah, I know a color guard from the army, but I don't know what you're talking
No.
I
about.
don't think it's that one.
This is
Well, it might be. That sounds similar. You're throwing flags and stuff in the air.
Yeah, and we have rifle, too.
Cool.
So-
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not learning that one because I'm just starting this year, so that it's really difficult too. But some of the more experienced tossers are
Uh-huh.
learning rifle.
I bet you'll be tremendous at that.
Thank you.
Now, so once you're into it, you'll be performing like at football games.
Yeah. And then we have competition. I think in October.
Competitions.
Competitions. In October.
And parades.
Yep.
We do the homecoming parade, and then sometimes they'll do other parades where they take a trip to go to a parade somewhere else.
Yeah.
But this year they're not doing one.
This year we're doing the trip, right?
No.
Wow.
This coming. No, I mean like the band trip.
Next year there's not a trip.
You're a busy, interesting family, and I'm so glad I know y'all. You've been a joy to me since I've moved to Champaign.
You
You
too,
us
Marilyn.
too.
You too.
Okay, now your family has a most unusual Baha'i background. You're not the first generation, you're not even the second generation of Baha'is in your family. Who would care to comment about that?
So I'm and my sisters are the 7th generation in our family. Our great grandmother was a Baha'i.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, in a time when most of us are either first or second generations, to hear somebody being a 7th generation, it's just amazing.
Ellen Tuller Beecher was one of the early Baha'is in the U.S. and the same family as Harriet Beecher Stowe.
Oh,
Those
really?
Beechers. And her granddaughter, Dorothy Beecher, who married Frank Baker and was then Dorothy Baker, is a very well-known Baha'i. So she's several generations back. She's my father's grandmother. So these girls' great-great-grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of greats back there.
Oh, yeah, you've got some greats here, some really greats. So what was special about Dorothy Baker?
She was very skilled speaker. She could do research and put together talks that would just effectively educate people. And she was very charismatic, dedicated, willing to travel.
Mm-hmm.
She touched a lot of people's hearts and just educated a lot of people. At that time, there was not the abundance of written material for people to study and learn from because the faith was very young. And people who, put together talks and traveled around and spread the teachings were vitally important
Yes.
in spreading the knowledge of the faith.
So she traveled worldwide.
She did, yeah.
And in her travels, as I recall, as I read her book, which is Copper to Gold,
From Copper to Gold.
About Dorothy Baker, she made the statement more than once that she wanted to die with her boots on.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to die serving the cause. Did
And she did. Yeah.
She did. She died in her 50s in a plane crash in the Mediterranean.
And so there is one other thing about Dorothy. She was called by Shoghi Effendi
A hand of the cause of God.
a hand of the cause of God. In the Baha'i faith, this is a very elite, very special group of people who have served the faith with their whole lives. And so that's a very significant, a very special thing to have in your family. How does this make you feel to be descendant from a hand of the cause of God? Is it difficult to try to live up to that? Is it a burden, or is it something that you can just really... How do you feel about it?
It's not difficult to live up to because she was such a loving person. We know that she'd want us to do what makes us happy. So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like it's a burden to live up to either, because in the Baha'i faith we learn early that the only person who can choose to become Baha'i is yourself, and you're really not supposed to be pressured by anyone else.
Very good.
And also, we don't have very much relation to her more than other people because none of us met her, and the only connection we really have to her is through the book From Copper to Gold. So it's encouraging, but it's still not like a very large presence in my life.
Mm-hmm. So just as she's a presence in all Baha'i lives, you don't feel like this is putting a pressure on you then.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. But it is a wonderful thing, a heritage that you have.
Yes.
Okay. So I hear that your grandfather and your grandfather and your great-grandfather serves the faith in Bolivia. Even yet he's working, isn't he, in his old age?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about his work?
He's still doing what he can. He and his wife and 2 of their children moved to Bolivia in 1968. So his wife, Anna Marie, is the one who was named Zivar.
Oh, okay.
So Grampy, Bill Baker, is Dorothy Baker's son.
Mm-hmm.
And he married Anna Marie Mattoon. And they had 3 children, the oldest of whom is my dad,
Okay.
Frank Baker, and he lives here in Urbana. Hi, Dad. He was the only one of the 3 kids to stay stateside when the family moved to Bolivia. He was just starting the U of I that term, so he stayed at 18. Everyone else went down, and now we have aunts and uncles and cousins who are Bolivian and have lived there their whole lives. It's pretty neat. But anyway, Grampy's work, he was a chemical engineer, I'm pretty sure. He saw what a hard-used place Bolivia was from the time when the Europeans found it a nice place to go and use. Unfortunately, Bolivia became extremely impoverished and has a very, very high native population who were marginalized over the centuries until they were just extremely badly off. And Grampy wanted to help them relearn some of the old ways of doing things that had made their lives much more livable before things were all shaken up. So he started many projects. One of the ones that had the most impact was to show them how to build very, very simple greenhouses that started with a pit, maybe 2 feet deep in the ground, and then you build up the sides with adobe brick, and 1 sheet of plastic over the top will extend their growing season by a lot, so they can start plants early, keep them going later. It's a pretty difficult climate for agriculture because a lot of it is very high elevation. Cochabamba, one of the major cities, is 8,000 to 9,000 feet, and then La Paz, another major city, is 12,000 feet.
Really?
Yeah. And the traditional agriculture was in the mountains, in the gullies, in the creases between the mountains. They would plant potatoes, many kinds of potatoes and other things. So in the creases between the mountains, those creases retained what little rainfall there was much longer than just planting out in the open. And their main crops were different kinds of potatoes.
So the potatoes are a native thing to that area.
Yeah, they are. And in old times, those creases, I don't know what to call them, were terraced. And that kept the soil from washing away. But over time, people stopped terracing, and the creases became gullies that didn't hold the water, and you couldn't plant there. And the population was increasing because of the introduction of antibiotics.
Uh-huh.
And the infant mortality rate was really high. Malnutrition was really high.
Oh, dear.
And Grampy developed a plan to reclaim these productive areas that used to be part of their main way of providing food for themselves. So he tried different things, and he ended up with galviones, which are big chain link fence containers filled with rocks. So you make a big cube out of chain link fence, fill it with rocks, and put it in the gullies. Put them in the gullies, make several and stack them up in the bigger gullies. And the sediment builds up behind these galviones. And over 2, 3, 4 years, reforms this fertile terrace behind the galviones. But you have to have something really sturdy to interrupt the dashing water down the mountain.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. The terraces and the little greenhouses, and also spreading knowledge of the best way to construct adobe houses so they would be the warmest in the winter and the coolest in the summer. That's one problem for child and elderly mortality, is the cold and the heat. And he did a bunch of other projects to rainwater retention in cistern structures to be used during the dry season. It's a very long dry season in the mountainous parts of Bolivia. So he lived in Cochabamba most of the time, and there's still a research institute there called the Dorothy Baker Environmental, it's in Spanish, but it's something like Dorothy Baker Environmental Studies Institute, something like that.
Wow. And so in the meantime, as he's doing all this and raising his family, he's also teaching the faith, is that right?
Oh, sure. The faith is all about the development of mankind in the modern age. So everything he does is for humanity, and therefore everything he does is for the faith.
Right. That's wonderful. I have met your grandfather a time or two, and he is a delightful person, and hope that he will come back this way again sometime.
I wish you had met Grandma. She was a lot like you, actually, Marilyn. She was
Really?
She was a kindergarten teacher, and very humorous and encouraging, infectiously laughing much of the time.
Oh, my.
She was very sweet. We miss her. The kids didn't get to meet her, unfortunately.
Oh. So have any of you visited your grandfather in Bolivia?
So I visited most recently the summer of 2013. Went down to Bolivia for 3 weeks and stayed with my great aunt, Grampy's daughter, Crystal. And I got to see him. He lived maybe a quarter of a mile away with his sister. And right now, and then he is living in Santa Cruz because he can get around pretty well by himself, but his health isn't what it used to be. So it was very wonderful visiting them. I went in their winter, so that was interesting, where it rains a lot and nobody does anything.
That's interesting. He's what, in his 90s now?
He was born in 1923.
So, okay.
23 or 24, yeah,
22.
23.
Okay, so
Nadine-
he's well up into his 80s.
Nadine visited Santa Cruz. No, he's in his 90s.
He's 92.
Oh, okay.
Nadine visited Santa Cruz, where several of our relatives live. And Grampy's moved there now. It's tropical or semi-tropical. They're in sharp contrast to the mountainous areas that are not at all tropical. But Santa Cruz has palm trees.
Yeah, it is amazing. Palm trees and lots of sugarcane fields, which are really neat because I'd never seen one before.
Wow.
And one of my cousins has a growing pig farm.
Yeah, pig and duck farm.
Pig and duck.
Growing what?
One of my cousins has a growing pig farm.
Pig farm.
Pig and duck farm. Yeah.
Pig and duck. Okay. Well, I think I might start a duck farm. We seem to have a lot of ducks around, mallard ducks around our area lately, getting caught in the storm sewers and things. So your grandpa's namesake is your brother Bill.
Yeah.
And he's going to be back in the States for a brief time before long. He is in China.
China. He and his family have been in Chengdu for 4 years.
Yes, they moved away from Champaign just as I moved in.
Oh, yeah.
So I have only met them once or twice. But they're going to be in town this summer for a little bit. And so we're expecting him to be our guest on our next program.
Cool.
We're looking forward to that and hearing about their work in China. I think that's going to be really neat. Let's see, we've already talked about your service. Nadine, you've been very involved over these past couple of years as a Baha'i youth with things that are going on in the faith. What's been happening with the Baha'i youth throughout the world?
Well, in 2013, the summer and the fall of 2013, there were Baha'i youth conferences around the world, which were really awesome, not only attending them, but also because they're kind of like a reinvigorating event for the whole youth population.
Around the world.
Yeah. So that's really contributed to a lot of programs being supported more by youth. And yeah, so that's cool. And also just youth involvement in the community and youth being the spearhead of every enterprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without the youth, we don't have a future.
Wow. Yes.
And you're showing a great example. That's great.
Well, Nadine, could you tell me about the, I think it's called the Youth Empowerment Program, or how is that supposed to work?
There's a certain kind of community building program that just Baha'is in general, many are focusing on, which is called the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program. And it's basically groups of junior youth who are from ages of 11 to 14 coming together with an animator who is usually from the age of 15 to 30, what we consider youth in the Baha'i faith, and just coming together to really be strong moral supports for each other, to explore the world and particularly spiritual concepts together, to study and play together and really support each other.
I've heard you ladies sing together, and I was wondering if you would sing a song or two for us.
Of course. We'll do anything you say, Marilyn.
Oh, well. In that case. Okay.
So we have a particular song that we practiced for today, and it's called Love Me That I May Love Thee.
Love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant. Love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant. Love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee.
Know this, O servant, love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant, love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant, love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant, love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant, love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Wow. See, you guys don't get to hear it through the headphones. I get to hear it through the headphones. That sounded awesome.
Oh, cool. I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, that's great. Did you have a second song for us?
Sure, we can sing as many as you want.
Oh, wow. So what's our next song?
Gol ala hoyakfi, which is an Arabic and English composition of God is sufficient unto me. He is the all-sufficing. In him let the trusting trust. Okay. This one is all in unison with a tiny bit of harmony.
Okay.
Kol ala hoyakfi and kole shayan. Gol ala hoyakfi man kole shayan. Va'ala la hefa yatavakele motevakelun yatavakele motevakelun. God is sufficient unto me. He is the all-sufficing. God is sufficient unto me. He is the all-sufficing. Let the trusting trust him. Let the trusting trust. Let the trusting trust him. Let the trusting trust. Let the trusting trust.
Thank you. That was lovely. That song has a little history to it.
Mm-hmm.
Who can tell me the history to that song?
I believe they sing it in the prisons. I'm not sure if there's one specifically.
I think it was
The Siachal.
It was in the Sea of Chal.
The Siachal, the Black Pit. The prison in Tehran that was a cistern converted to a prison.
That's right. And so, as I recall, Baha'u'llah tells us that while they were in the prison, he taught the rest of the prisoners how to chant this song. And they divided into two groups and would chant back and forth. And this song was actually heard by the Shah as from his palace or wherever he lived, hearing these voices coming from that black pit and wanted to know who was doing this singing. So that is a beautiful song because it directs directly to Baha'u'llah. So that was a great choice. Okay.
Could we do one more,
Yeah,
a different one?
might
I'd
use
like
them
to have
all.
another song, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how you wanted to end the program, Marlon, but I mean, I'd like the music.
Have your total discretion. You can play it backwards if you want. See if there are any messages in it.
As if we don't confuse people enough
Already.
with this peculiar program.
Peculiar. What was the other one? Let my heart be filled with your... Let my heart be filled with your joy. Angels assist on every hand. To be a banner of bounty,
lamp of your light. Make me a minaret of love in your land. Let my heart be filled with your joy. Angels assist on every hand. To be a banner. Let my heart be filled with your joy. Angels assist on every hand. To be a banner of bounty, lamp of your light. Make me a minaret of love in your land. To be a banner. Let my heart be filled with your joy. Angels assist on every hand. To be a banner of bounty, lamp of your light. Make me a minaret of love in your land.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Well, if there are any producers listening right now, I think you guys are all going to get calls. Let me just put it that way.
And they can't even see what beautiful girls these are. Let's see here. We'll take a look at what's going on at the Baha'i Center in Urbana over these next few weeks.
On Tuesday evenings at 7 o'clock, there is a prayer and meditation meeting led by Joan Mills. Each Sunday morning at 10:30, there is a regular devotional program that includes Baha'i and other religious scriptural prayers and readings, and oftentimes music. On the fourth Sunday of each month, the devotional program at 10:30 will be followed by a potluck lunch at noon and game day, an afternoon for family-friendly fun and games for all ages. The Baha'i Center is located at 807 East Green Street in Urbana, a couple blocks east of Lincoln Square. It is located on the red bus line, and it is wheelchair accessible.
We are so happy to have had you with us today. It's just been really great.
Thank you. We've been happy to be here.
Yes, thank you.
Good.
And thank you for singing. That was so awesome.
Yes, we very rarely have live music on our program. Oh, that was wonderful. We always close our program by having a little devotional readings. Would you be willing to join us in that today?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
The understanding of his words and the comprehension of the utterances of the birds of heaven are in no wise dependent upon human learning. They depend solely upon purity of heart, chastity of soul, and freedom of spirit. Baha'u'llah.
Consort with all men, O people of Baha, in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. If ye be aware of a certain truth, if ye possess a jewel, of which others are deprived, share it with them in a language of utmost kindliness and goodwill. If it be accepted, if it fulfill its purpose, your object is attained. If anyone should refuse it, leave him unto himself, and beseech God to guide him. Beware lest he deal unkindly with him. A kindly tongue is the lodestone of the hearts of men. It is the bread of the spirit. It clotheth the words with meaning. It is the foundation of the light of wisdom and understanding. Baha'u'llah.
Remember, above all, the teaching of Baha'u'llah concerning gossip and unseemly talk about others. Stories repeated about others are seldom good. A silent tongue is the safest. Even good may be harmful if spoken at the wrong time or to the wrong person. Abdul-Baha.
O Son of Spirit, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me, and neglect it not that I may confide in thee. By its aid thou shalt see with thine own eyes, and not through the eyes of others, and shalt know of thine own knowledge, and not through the knowledge of thy neighbor. Ponder this in thy heart, how it behooveth thee to be. Verily justice is my gift to thee, and the sign of my loving kindness. Baha'u'llah.
Is it within human power to effect in the constituent elements of any of the minute and indivisible particles of matter so complete a transformation as to transmute it into purest gold? Perplexing and difficult as this may appear, The still greater task of converting satanic strength into heavenly power is one that we have been empowered to accomplish. The Word of God alone can claim the distinction of being endowed with the capacity required for so great and far-reaching a change. Baha'u'llah.
The ancient beauty hath consented to be bound with chains, that mankind may be released from its bondage, and hath accepted to be made a prisoner within this most mighty stronghold, that the whole world may attain unto true liberty. He hath drained to its dregs the cup of sorrow, that all the peoples of the earth may attain unto abiding joy, and may be filled with gladness. Baha'u'llah.
To find out more about Baha'i events taking place in Champaign-Urbana, or if you'd like to listen to previous New Lamp programs, you can go online to www.cu-bahai.org. Or if you would like to learn more about the Baha'i national and international community, go to www.bahai.us. Thank you again for joining us today. I hope you'll join us again next month. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this week's Weekend Heartbeat on WEFT Champaign 90.1 FM, Community Radio, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, streaming live at www.weft.org.